Welcome to the fantasy world of science, the world science. The main topic is thanatology. Topics of thanatology: History 1 of thanatology, History 2 of thanatology. History 1 of thanatology. Historically, death education in American society has been seen as a taboo topic, not worthy of scholarly research for educational purposes. In the 1960s, pioneering professionals like that of Hermann Pippel 1959, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross 1969, and Cecily Saunders 1967 encouraged the behavioral scientists, clinicians, and humanists to pay attention and to study death-related topics. This initiated the death awareness movement and began the widespread study of death-related behavior, developing the new programs of care for the dying and bereaved, as well as a new research on death-related attitudes. History 2 of Thanatology. In History 2, point number 1. Russian scientist Elie Mechnikov was famous for his work in microbiology and the discovery of phagocytosis. Phagocytosis is the process by which a cell, often a phagocyte or protist, engulfs a solid particle to form an internal compartment known as a phagosome. In 1903, he established a scientific discipline devoted to the study of death. He argued that those who were dying had few or no resources for the experience of dying, and that an academic study would help those facing death to have a better understanding of the phenomenon and reduce their fear of it. History 2. Point number 2. Mechnikov based his ideas for an interdisciplinary study on the fact that while medical students had their obligatory encounters with cadavers through anatomical studies, there was almost no instruction on how to care for the dying, nor was there any research into death included in the curriculum. Because few scholars and educators agreed with Mechnikov, the support he needed for the realization of his suggestions did not materialize for decades. History 2. Point number 3. Mechnikov chose to focus on two new areas of study, gerontology and thanatology. Contrary to genetology, it took about 47 years for most people to accept thanatology as a science. Therefore, the science of thanatology is fairly new for the most part. The altered viewpoints people developed when it came to viewing and coping with death was one reason that thanatology became more accepted across societies. Thanatology arose with the Death with Dignity movement of the early 1970s as an interdisciplinary category for the study of death. The Death with Dignity movement allows Americans to decide what happens to their cadaver after death. History 2. Point number 4. Following World War II, the world was haunted with the memories of the many casualties. During this period of reflection, many existential philosophers began considering life and death issues. One in particular was Hermann Pippel, an American psychologist who is considered the pioneer of the modern death movement. Pippel broke the taboo on discussions of death and dying with the publication of his book The Meaning of Death. In this book, Whipple dispelled myths held by scientists and practitioners about death and the denial of its importance for human behavior. It earned wide attention and became a classic in the new field, including as it did contributions from eminent thinkers such as psychiatrist Carl Jung, theologian Paul Tillis, and philosopher Herbert Marcus. Through the meaning of death, Whipple was able to lay the foundation for a field that would eventually be known as Thanatology. The field was improved death education and grief counseling by the use of valid death-related data, methodology, and theory. Thank you for watching this video, The World Science. For watching more videos, subscribe the channel The World Science. Click the bell icon.